Hello, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. You're watching episode 17th of The Health Show. And obviously, abhi se pehle I tried going Facebook Live, but it didn't work out. There were like some minor problems going on with Facebook. I don't know what's happening, but we're back, and Sennen is just about to join in. And he's going to tell you exactly who Sennen Desouza is, what he's done, what he's doing, what he's up to, everything about him. Hello, Naman, how are you? I'm so glad to have you here today. By the way, I think you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel bit. अभी जाएं और जाके आप सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन को भी दबाएं. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm good, Naman. I'm good. Thank you for asking. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed.
Yeah, am I finally audible now?
Yes. Alhamdulillah, you are.
Okay, thank God. Thank God. This was the most technically challenged day I've had in many days, in recent memory at least. So thank you so much,
Great.
Flacom, firstly.
I'm honored. I'm honored to have you here. Let's begin. First of all, tell us about yourself, Sennen. Who is Sennen Desouza? Where do you get your inspiration from? What have you done previously? What are you doing right now? What do you want to do in your future? Give us everything about you, the whole story.
It's a very tricky question. This is always the trickiest question that I get asked. Sennen is a tale of two parts. Small town boy from first 2 decades of his life lived in Hyderabad, came to Karachi. Over the past 11 years, I've been in Karachi. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a co-founder to a startup called Investors Lounge, which delivers financial markets intelligence to institutions and high net worth individuals. As a person, I am intellectually curious. At least I hope I'm intellectually curious. Taking life easy, not too ambitious, never been too ambitious. Hopefully a source of support, hopefully a source of comfort, and healing for as many people as possible. So that's probably sums that up, my introduction up.
That's beautiful. Tell us about this. Where do you get your inspiration from?
So I think my prime inspiration would be for the longest time has been my mother. But as I've grown older, I think a lot of people who I'm probably not even close to, but people on my Facebook, people from different disciplines who've taught me a lot, while they might not even have known that they've or what they've been able to teach me, who've helped me grow into a better human being. And apart from that, I think any genuinely well-intentioned human being that's out there making a difference, especially young people. So when I see graduates, students who have not even graduated, doing phenomenally well, I think there's no room for envy or jealousy. I think you live vicariously off them. And that just makes me very, very happy, and that keeps me inspired. I think a lot of people in many different ways inspire me for different things. So I don't have a particular role model. I'll choose role models in different walks of life. People who are good at anything and people who I can aspire to be like.
Great. That's just great. Sennen, I was asked this question in my DMs last night, and that was, please ask Sennen, how did AIESEC change his life? And you can explain it, with however time you want.
Yeah. So again, AIESEC again was. I'm not sure how candid I can be on this, but I'll try my best, right, without offending a lot of people. AIESEC again is a part of two completely different parts. I joined, I was very disillusioned. I joined, I am not even sure. I was referred by somebody saw something in me probably, and I was referred by the then VPTM. Barely made it through, probably. Was not adjusting well to the culture, was pretty dormant. And then somebody really pushed me to apply for an expansion manager position. So that was the position for the first president of AIESEC and IPF. I ended up winning, and that started a period of my life that was very uh, wholesome. That taught me a lot because it was like a new small family was given to me, a small unit. And I learned from those 14, 15, 18 odd individuals like anything. I think exchange changed me a lot. Going to a place like Northern Cyprus that I would not have gone to in any other. If you ask me any destination, I don't think anybody would name Northern Cyprus as their destination. And when I went there, there were people from 26 different nationalities. So I had exposure uh, to if I'm to say if I met one kind of Muslim, no, I met Muslims from 9 different countries, all very different. So that kind of exposure really, changed my perspective and changed who I am as a person in a span of 5 weeks. As a matter of fact, for people who don't know, people think that it's very easy to come back. It's very difficult to leave that place after 5 weeks because most of the people that I met were in tears when I was leaving. And obviously, there was that might be true for other interns as well because we grew as a family. We ate together, we shared meals, we studied together, we sat all night talking about each other's cultures. So I think that at a very early age, I wouldn't have been. Otherwise, if it was just IBA, it would have been one society to another, one competition to another, and one class to another, and one semester to another. So I don't think that I would have completely missed out on that experience, which to this date has profoundly impacted my perspective on life.
That's just amazing. And how do you think how much Isaac impacted your units, your successes in life, or your achievements in life? How much percentage?
Um, I think I'd have to credit at least 40% of that to ISEC because if I say Investors Lounge is my first startup, that wouldn't be entirely true. Because if you're given charge of an entity, जिसमें यार 15-20 लोग होते हैं, you have 15-20 people that you lead, and you basically don't have a constitution, you don't have structures in place, you're all new, you're all fresh. That's basically a startup. And you're given goals and you're asked to run with it. So if that's a startup, that was a very good testing ground for me to sort of get my hands dirty and build something out of nothing and see where I can, how far I can take it in a matter of year because that startup had a particular expiry date that I knew of, you know.
Mm.
So that was a very good testing ground that really helped me. And I was a lot more calm, a lot more composed when I ended up being a co-founder to Investors Lounge because that kind of experience was not extremely new to me.
Great. And there's another question that kind of relates with this thing because just like you said, having the expansion Isaac and IBA, running that from ground zero with no structures, no finances, nothing in place, and that was essentially a startup, right? And then you moved on to be a CEO, or co-founder of Investors Lounge. Tell me about this. If
Yeah.
somebody right now wants to start, and there's a lot of people in the entrepreneurial industry who wants to be an entrepreneur, they want to start new things. What advice you've got, and how do you like? I'll keep it more specific. So if there's one person who wants to start a startup, and he doesn't know how he's going to do the finances, he doesn't know how he's going to manage everything, how he's going to manage HR and everything by himself. What advice do you have for
Yeah.
him?
Firstly, my advice would be to ideally not start alone. Especially when you get to the execution of things, I think a co-founder is very necessary. Not to keep yourself execution-wise balanced, not to keep your portfolios in check and in balance, but to also keep yourself emotionally and mentally balanced because you need somebody to complement you. And by that, I don't mean you necessarily get married to the individual, but in business as well, you play from strength to strength and you complement each other. So starting off alone probably isn't the best idea. Yes, what I would suggest is if you have an idea, uh, try your best to put it out there, because till you don't put it out there, you will not find people who share a similar vision. So by that, I don't mean if you have the idea for a particular marketplace, put in details of the marketplace and keep on writing on a particular blog on Facebook. But you should have a strong why. Why am I wanting to do this? So I think that is very important. Simon Sinek speaks of this very often. He's written a book about this.
Start with why.
Why is it? Yes, exactly. So that is very important. And your why should be projected out there, and it should be out there for people to know what you're in for and why you're in it. So people who resonate with that will be attracted towards you. And the more people you meet, the better chances you have of finding like-minded individuals and getting good co-founders on board. So that's one. Um, Before that, even a preliminary stage would be identify if you have the right characteristics for, or I'm not too sure if you can call it the DNA, but if you have the DNA of an entrepreneur. But that means I'm not saying that this or a startup founder or an entrepreneur is some cool ass gentleman who's from Silicon Valley, who wears these shorts and is supposed to be very glamorous or very cool. But everybody has a stage in life. Everybody has a certain set of resources and a certain set of conditions that might not be conducive to take that leap of faith. Maybe at age 29 you can't. Maybe at age 21 you can't. Maybe because of certain circumstances in your house you can't. Maybe you are not the kind of person that can thrive on that, literally that adrenaline rush that you get each day. If it's not, then probably this life is not for you. And I think that misconception that people have, ki yaar, entrepreneurship is in its hierarchy the best thing to do, I think that is wrong. If you are doing a kick-ass project at Engro, at Unilever, at Google, at Facebook, at Uber, at Tesla, you could be better than most of us founders running in a whole ass company, right? Just by virtue of doing your project really well. So that mismatch should not be there. So somebody put it in a very desi way, and I think that resonates very well. They said, don't do your startup for passion and not for fashion. Right? Just don't do it because it sounds cool. Just don't do it because an incubator looks cool, or you think that you will earn a lot. Statistically, you are in a better position to earn a lot more if you do a corporate job well, because the odds are much more in your favor. So don't do that. Don't do that because you want to be an entrepreneur only because you cannot wake up before 11:15 in the morning. These are wrong reasons to. So I think that litmus test, is very necessary before you jump in, because otherwise you would have wasted 6, 5, 4 years of your life, and then you would have thought, okay, I can't do this, and then you'll have difficulty being hired. I can pretty much promise you, because I'm in touch with a lot of people in the HR as well.
Great. And relating to that, what was your reason to start, Investors Lounge?
So I am not exactly. This is not my brainchild, by the way. This is the brainchild of a person called Bakar Abbas Jafri, who is the founder and CEO of Investors Lounge. Me and the current CTO are co-founders. We joined in after he had actually come up with the idea. That's probably what happens, because nowhere, it rarely happens that people have an idea, develop an idea simultaneously. It occurs to one person and he finds people who are like-minded, right? So what happened was, okay, if you open up a brokerage account, right? So you're trading in the riskiest market in Pakistan, right? What's going to happen is, you're in those times, if you have a brokerage account, you're going to get research, you're going to get advice from that broker. Understood? Our thesis was that you are in a better position in the riskiest market in Pakistan with your hard-earned money on stake if you take the advice of not one but multiple experts, and then sort of make your trading decision. So it's very important to for that to happen. So what we did was we sort of got of all of these brokerage houses on board. We had an idea to democratize research. कि यार मैं अगर OGDC, PSO, लकी सीमेंट किसी पे भी व्यू लेना चाहूँ, ओपिनियन लेना चाहूँ, so मैं अपने ब्रोकर तक महदूद ना हूँ. Like I could have an opinion of multiple experts who might have varying opinions, varying assumptions, and after I am able to assess those, then I put my money, in basically the riskiest place you can probably invest in Pakistan.
Great, great.
That's
This
how
is
it
very
started.
insightful. Since Sennen, you're in the health show, so tell us about this. What do you think about health and wellness in today's society, especially in Pakistan, the basic culture that we have?
Yeah, there's two. I think my understanding is there's two parts to this. There's physical health and then there's mental wellness and mental health. I think I'll in terms of physical health, I think we're pretty much. I'm not sure what the literature says, but I don't think we're in very good shape. Because a lot of us are focused more on our six packs than pure fitness. Because I think that's being glamorized, especially on the medium that we are right now in. I think Instagram is full of that, and leads to a lot of body
Frustration.
image issues. Yeah, a lot of frustration. कि यार मेरे 4 ही पैक क्यों है, ये मेरा 5वां और छठा क्यों नहीं निकल रहा, या मेरे 8 होने चाहिए, और I should have these obliques. An instrument or a part of your body that is probably not even visible, at least in Pakistan, because you don't have the greatest of beaches where you can be shirtless. Sorry to go off topic, but so in terms of fitness, we're not doing well. So because I'm not a gym freak, I don't go to the gym more than twice, probably a week or once a week. But when I do go there, I don't see 90% of the people that I see are not fit, because if they start running on a treadmill, the moment they get off, they're done. Like after a 3-minute run on the treadmill, they're done. So that's not fitness. The moment they're forced to do anything that pushes their cardio, they're done. Because we're not very athletic, because we do not occupy places that could really bring out the athletes in us. We don't train like athletes. So that I think that is very important. That I feel is missing by a long margin. Mental wellness is altogether different, yeah. Physically, so I think we need a lot more activity centers. That I don't find. You can probably go to Aga Khan. You can probably go to, I don't know, KMC or something. The ground. Other than that, you can't really find places where you can, really go out there and find monkey bars, yeah. Find kettlebells, or find jungle gyms, or find places, safe places in which you can really train like athletes, or train like you would built how to train. In terms of mental wellness, yeah, a few. I was speaking to this another startup. It's called Relive now. People who are listening to me should really check it out. It's essentially it's a place where you can book therapy sessions and psychiatrists. There's this girl called Amna Asif. She's doing a wonderful job. It's a very difficult field. So when I was speaking to her, I went through a bit of literature on Pakistan. There's not a lot out there, but any estimate would be either there are 15 million people who are affected by mental disorders in Pakistan, or there are 60 million people who are affected in Pakistan, or there are 36% of adults affected in Pakistan. So there are various estimates. If I am to take the lowest band, that would be 15 million. Right now we're in a pandemic, which if I take the most generous estimate, most unfortunate estimate, the most I can say is 2 million or 4 million people in Pakistan will be affected in the coming months. And the country has been taken hostage by this. We've declared a crisis. How is mental health not an emergency or a crisis is beyond me. When you have at the very least 15 million people affected by bipolar disorder, PTSD, clinical depression, anxiety, uh, and that's is beyond me. So we're not doing too well. The fact that we shrug it under the carpet by saying कि जिन है, या दूरी है दीन से, whether any religion, दूरी है या दुआ की कमी है, all of those things, or we say काला जादू है, different starters of society, and or we say this person is just freaking lazy. The most common thing is कि इसको करना ही नहीं है, right? I I'll be very honest, not having this as well. The people close to me were affected, and that's what happens to most people. You only start understanding it.
There seems to be a little connectivity issue, I guess. All right, we're back. We're back.
Right. So it matters to me because a lot of my friends have affected, and I saw their lives completely shift and change for the worse. And that's when I decided, I need to read up on this. I'm still a student. I'm not only a student. Anytime you sit in front of me, I'm pretty sure you know 25x as much as I do. But I'm trying my best each day to equip myself with at least the basic knowledge so that I can at least, at the very least, not be unkind and identify when behaviors are telling me that somebody is going through an episode. I think that's the
Great.
least we can do as human beings.
Exactly. I totally and 110% agree with what you just said. Just like this, especially the stats that you just mentioned. अगर हमें ये realize हो जाए कि it's not even an epidemic, it's an emergency. So
Yeah.
I think people would start to take it more seriously. My next question is, Sennen, since you have a very industrial background, you have been to a lot of places, you have been a part of many places. What if give us like three learnings that you have developed from your journey after graduation?
Um, so, okay, after graduation, so this will be 2013. So it's been 7 years. So that's a long time. That's a lot of diverse experiences. But I'd say one thing that stuck with me, one one learning would be that you should conserve and manage your energy, and invest a lot of time in doing that. So when I was in 2013, in 2012, and even after a few years, I had various groups of friends. Now these friendships, relationships, cannot continue without a certain bit of emotional investment, right? And you cannot keep on investing and keep on investing and spread yourself thin or dry up your own reservoir. If you do that, you will be a shell of a person, and the people who really matter, the people who really close to you, you will not be available to them. Like that's, I'm probably oversimplifying this, but what I felt is there is a certain level of exhaustion and burnout if you just continue to madly pursue every possible friendship out there. This madness or this insanity or this craze of constantly increasing your friend circle, I think is counterproductive. Have a few people, this could be 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, whatever, people close to you, people who are well rounded, people who nurture you, people who help you be a better human being, people who you can be there for. Don't go beyond that because those friendships will eventually not last, and you will be doing them a disservice as well, and yourself a major disservice. So that's learning number one. I feel learning number two is, in terms of career counseling, everybody. So if you're a startup founder or if you want to aspire to be a startup founder, I've seen whatever field you choose, what you're doing is you consume a lot of material related to that field, right? And that changes you as a person. That could be anything. Yeah, you look at Peaky Blinders, right? Or Friends, the show, or Married with Children, or Scrubs, or whatever you want to. You continue, or Artu Grul, or whatever it's called, right? If you continue watching season after season, I assure you that your accent, your behavior will change. It will have an influence on it. So, how are you to assume that once you start off as a founder or whatever, and you consume, um, blog after blog after blog, just teaching you about pushing, and sacrifice and perseverance and grit and all of that, you end up compromising a lot of important things in your life. That should not be the case. At the end of the day, this is for a particular individual, for a particular person with a DNA structure, uh, who is willing to sacrifice this. I think the CEO of Yahoo had said this, that you can only, between friends, family, fitness, and work, you'll have to sacrifice at least one. One will have to go. Now, my plea would be that's not the case. Don't go for hyper growth if it's coming at the cost of your mental wellness, if it's coming at the cost of your family. This craze with just shooting for the top of the ladder, whether it's a startup or a corporate career, uh, that's bad advice. I'm no expert, but I think that formula has worked for me. I will carry this forward. I will settle for less in life. I will settle for things that just make my financial goals doable, but I will move all three, four variables together. I could compromise on it time and again a little bit, but it's not like I'm going to drop the entire variable and move forwards. That would be probably number two. Number three, good advice is anybody who says or shares a meme that says money doesn't matter is lying. Money matters. I'm from the industry where I have to promote financial literacy. What by that I mean, don't go and say कि यार waste money and say यार जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा or whatever, right? Because at the end of the day, your hospital bills, everything that you love to do. So, for example, you love traveling, you love food, you love to help others. You love to financially help others. You want to bring our people out of misery. Uh, your parents could get sick. All of those things. That, fortunate or unfortunate, it costs money. So at the end of the day, what you need to do is, yes, don't be blind after money. You know, you probably not need three, or you don't even need one Audi. You can get done with even a Swift, right? Or a Kareem like me. I don't even drive too much. I don't drive at all actually. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure that your financial planning starts early. You have your financial goals in place, you start early, you buy your insurances, you manage the wealth of your family, you do your personal savings bit by bit. You don't have over ambitious goals, but once you start early, the effect of compounding, the effect of starting off at an early age will reap dividends will in later on in life. So I think that those are three. And if you allow me, I'll add a fourth, and the fourth would be to
Sure, sure.
surround the fourth would be to surround yourself with people from different disciplines. I find this too important to ignore. That's why I sort of forced in the fourth. What that means is, KR, just not people from business, people from the social sciences, people from tech, everything, because you have no idea, even if you've met somebody from GK. So AIESEC, there was AIESEC and GK. When you meet those boys, you understand that they think very differently than you. They think very differently than people from IBA, who have, and Lums Wale think very different from IBA too, because they're exposed to a lot more of philosophy and philosophy gyms and debates and all of those things. At the end of the day, you want people to have differing opinions, to really take you up on your viewpoints in life, and to offer a countering narrative, and offer it in an environment where you can learn from them, and when you can correct your mistakes, and when you can be more.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there was a little
थोड़ा
bit
सा इनको मसला हो गया,
connectivity
but
issues.
yeah, but I absolutely agree with what you just said, because having people from different disciplines on board, that gives you sort of global perspective, and just like you said, we can learn,
Yeah.
you can learn from them, you having different opinions. ये आपकी emotional intelligence के लिए बड़ा अच्छा होता है. But the point number three that you just said, having financial stability, right? Because again, internet pe to, there are two extremes. One is, money is everything, blind following about money, and the other is, money is nothing, and happiness, money se nahi aati, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the thing in middle, which is actually you need money, to be happy, to, obviously to, just like you said, there could be a lot of stuff, for your hobbies, for everything that you want to do. You need money, obviously. That's like a necessity. It's not something that is 110% जिस पे आपको focus होना चाहिए.
Yeah.
But then again, you need it. So my question is, what do you think for people in Pakistan right now? यहाँ पे जो culture है, we don't have a culture of that much stock exchange, your stocks, your shares,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. How can a person develop their assets while in an early age? So for example, for me, if I'm a student right now, I'm about to graduate, I've almost become a doctor. How do you advise me on building an asset or multiple assets?
So I think the first thing that everybody needs to do is, whether you're a doctor or an engineer, I think one of the best things that you can do is consume a lot of the more productive news out there. ठीक है, आप में जरूरी नहीं है पॉलिटिकल टॉक शोज देखने, ठीक है ना, जिसमें सिर्फ देर मत लेंगे, ठीक है. आपने इकोनॉमी में थोड़ी सी नजर रखनी है कि यार असल में क्या हो रहा है. Find a few authors that you find that write well, who you can understand, who you like reading, and keep a tab on them. कोई मसला नहीं, आप 10 मिनट दिन के थोड़ा सा भी पढ़ लेंगे, आपको ज्यादा मजा भी आएगा. जब आप चाय के सेशन के लिए अपने दोस्तों के साथ बैठेंगे, you can contribute more. And also you have a better sense कि यार अच्छा ठीक है, पेट्रोल स्टेशन बंद हो रहा है, पेट्रोल की प्राइसेस बढ़ रही हैं, ठीक है, मुझे किस पे गुस्सा उतारना भाई? मुझे इमरान खान पे गुस्सा उतारना है, मुझे ओगरा पे गुस्सा उतारना है, मुझे सूबाई हुकूमत पे गुस्सा उतारना है. मैं गुस्सा उतार रहा हूँ तो हक पे उतार भी रहा हूँ, नहीं उतार रहा हूँ, राइट? I think that is firstly most important, to equip yourself with basic knowledge. Then don't even rush off to the stock exchange or capital markets. Yeah. Before that, basics. So I would want you to also convince your younger brothers and sisters to start saving from an early age. And the best and the easiest principle that I learned, and probably I learned this also from my mother, from my parents, but also it's very universally understood principle, is कि यार आपने 100 रुपए जब आपको मिलते हैं ना, आपने पहले वो साइड कर देना जो आपने सेव करना, और बाकी में अपना गुजारा करना. When you start doing that, you will notice that you are able to live a very lavish month based on your savings, which otherwise you don't even have an idea कि यार वो कहाँ उड़ता है. So I think budgeting is very important. आपको 100 रुपए कहीं से भी कमाते हो, whether that's pocket money or you earn it through a job or your an internship or whatever, आपने ये सोचना है कि यार इसका 30% let's say I start saving. So आप 30% पहले ही साइड में कर दो उसको, और फिर बाकी से महीना गुजारो. Then start increasing it. I say 30% because I think a certain percentage, obviously zakat aside, that I understand that will be a criterion for some people जिनके ऊपर लागू होता है. But जैसे मेरे लिए अंदाजा ये कि यार, if you have to help the underprivileged, a certain percentage of your income should also be set aside for them, because if you don't set it aside, you will forget to do it, right? Whether that goes to Darul Sakoon or SIUT or whatever, that's up to you. अच्छा, budgeting हो गई, savings हो गई, फिर आपको बेसिकली अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए कि बैंकिंग में भी आपके पास कौन सी ऐसी प्रोडक्ट है जिसमें आप डाल सकते हो. यार मीजान ही अगर आप खोल के देख लो, 11 किस्म की प्रोडक्ट्स हैं. सो बैंकिंग के प्रोडक्ट्स को समझना मुश्किल नहीं है, राइट? लेकिन फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी, एंड आई एम ऑल्सो ट्राइंग माई बेस्ट कि यार आई कम अप विद कॉन्टेंट एंड आई इंटरव्यू पीपल एंड आई पुट अप कॉन्टेंट आउट देयर वेयर पीपल अंडरस्टैंड कि यार बेसिक्स क्या है. What are your roles and responsibilities? What are your rights as a banking consumer? Why should you be wary of the insurance salesman? वो आपको क्या गलत बेच रहा है? मेरे घर पे 3 इंश्योरेंस थी जिसका कोई काम नहीं था, and they were sold on the premise by the salesperson or the sales lady कि एक दफा मेरी बहन बीमार है. She said my sister is ill, and as insurance salesmen earn by commission, and this is my only way to आप खरीद लें. So my parents kept buying insurances and paying the premiums, but it was of no use. So that I think really hurt us. So now when I've come back to Hyderabad and I'm sort of sorting out things, now I'm surrendering insurances. All of this mess can be avoided if you start early and basics पे आप काम करें. Then you get into mutual funds and stock markets. जिसका I would right now only leave you with this thought कि आपके पास अगर 100 रुपए है ना तो 15 रुपए से ज्यादा स्टॉक मार्केट और म्यूचुअल फंड्स के ऊपर नहीं लगाने चाहिए. Because that is money you think that if you lose or if it's at risk, you do not lose sleep over. So only risk those money. Baki assets आपके basic current accounts and savings accounts and insurances and banking products, and for the people who are above 60 or widows, defense saving certificates तो नहीं, sorry, Behbood's scheme जो आती है pays the highest interest rate. These are options available. Go out, explore these options, bring the brochure, start working, reach out. I think some of you can find my Instagram handle. Probably you can share it. I will try and share as much as I know, and hopefully it can help you.
Great, great. Thank you so much. But my question is like for somebody who wants to go interest free, right? He doesn't want any part in interest and all that. He doesn't believe in it.
Yeah.
What do you think he can do or she can do? Because like, the basics are already there. Like, you have to save, you have to have financial literacy. You have to follow those people, have sound knowledge of everything. And after all of these basic steps, what can you do basically? So like you're earning, let's say, your salary pay of 30,000 per month. What can you do with it to, build assets?
Yeah, if you're really earning 30,000 a month, and depends. If you're single, you can still have savings. If you're a family, the cost of living is pretty high. But as far whether it's Mizan Asset Management or Mizan Bank, right? It's an alternative for people who don't want to go the route for what they consider riba, right? So that's an option. So Mizan के जो mutual funds, those also have been performing. Mutual funds are generally stuck to the market, right? जब आपकी इकोनॉमी अच्छी चलेगी, जब आपकी फ्यूचर में आपको ग्रोथ नजर आ रही होगी, the markets have been doing remarkably well for the past 2.5 weeks, by the way. So जहाँ 2 हफ्ते में आपको नजर आ रही है ग्रोथ, आप मार्केट्स में नजर आएगी, म्यूचुअल फंड्स will also be doing well. अभी बहुत सारी चीजें आ गई यार, ETFs आ गए, एक्सचेंज ट्रेडेड फंड्स. So those are like buying a stock. उस स्टॉक के पीछे जो है ना 6-7 किस्म के स्टॉक्स होते हैं, पॉपुलर किस्म के. So it's like through one stock you're buying many stocks. So ये भी ऐसी टाइप के ऑप्शंस भी आ रहे हैं, which are easy. But yes, I feel कि in Pakistan, and I feel that's why I have to work on more, कि जो सेल्समैन होते हैं ना, वो उनका काम होता है थोड़ा सा चूना लगाना, ठीक है, और वो लगा भी देते हैं. And they're not very qualified, by the way, and that's a major issue with this industry. So customer जितना educated हो, कस्टमर को जितनी ऑलरेडी नॉलेज हो, वो पर्सन को सामने वाले को चैलेंज कर सकता है. वो चैलेंज भी जो है ना वो बहुत होता है इसके लिए. सो आई थिंक दैट थिंकिंग, दैट अवेयरनेस विल कम. Hopefully when people like us are doing their jobs well, a lot more people should be able to be educated and benefit from the financial products available in Pakistan.
Great. Thank you so much, Sennen. This has been very insightful. My next question is the most exciting question of the show, and that is, if you have the time, energy, and money to do anything in this world to keep yourself healthy, what would you do?
So personally, I'm not a big fan of big houses. I like small houses. I have a very small house in Hyderabad. I personally like those big gaps and empty spaces don't sit too well with me. But if you give me the option of obviously having a lot of money, then एक तो यार जरूरी होना चाहिए इंसान को, चाहे वो जुगाड़ में भी बना ले, तो एक एक्टिविटी सेंटर जरूर होना चाहिए, where you have, let's say, a table tennis table. Yeah. A table tennis table, not even just a gym, but जहाँ आप यार,
like you have all the money, you have all the time.
You have all. So if you have all the money and all the time, then I'd actually like to, even go and have a bowl by myself. Like, I'm a cricket fan. मुझे अकेले भी आप करा दो ना, अपार्टमेंट्स के बाहर भी अगर करा दो आप मुझे. I love to bowl by myself. I might look like a loner. I might actually be a loner too, but I just find it. I find that that sprint. This is how you look at things. So I find that sprint that a bowler takes, and that entire exercise very fascinating. That's what keeps me on my tips on my toes every day. Yeah. I find fascination in things, and those fascination, that really, captures my attention, and that keeps me fit. In that sense, if I consider myself fit, that is why I am fit. That's why my metabolism is as it is. Otherwise, I eat like a monster because I eat 4 or 5 times a day,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
But you will not. Yeah, so that's a problem, which has led to high cholesterol issues as well in the past. Not the best because I was a steak freak. I was beef steaks anywhere every second day. So that was again overdoing it. But yeah, so that's doable. I think um, another thing, a big space would allow me to keep a lot of pets. So that's one thing I miss. I love apartments, small apartments, but small apartments aren't the great places to keep pets. I think it's injustice. Um, Variety of different animals. I love animals. I think they're very therapeutic. In
True.
the sense they are a therapy in it themselves. Uh, if I have a low point in my day, and you give me access to a friendly dog, like I am able to play with a friendly dog. I find I think almost all dogs friendly. My day will instantly be turned around. I don't care what has happened to me throughout the day. I think that kind of connection I have with a dog, large, small, uh, maybe horses, a couple of really wild animals like a jaguar or something. I really want to do it. I have crazy fantasies. I probably think I'd want to step at least and be part of one combat sport, right? So things like that. Yeah, if I also had money and time, I think I'd hire a therapist 24/7.
Great.
It's too
Great. That's
expensive.
amazing.
I've never experienced therapy, but I think as a life coach, having somebody who has an understanding of human behavior and your traits and can help you navigate life better, I think that would be a pleasure to have. It's just a matter of fact that they're really, really expensive. At some point in my life, I would also want to work on an affordable model of therapy that can make therapy accessible to a lot more of the underprivileged class.
Great. Great, Sennen. Thank you so much for this. My next question is a question that puts people into existential crisis, and that is this: Sennen, what has been your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn out of it?
So I think, yeah, so it's very difficult for me to pinpoint. I'll tell you these things that you're asking, these these events, these things. I would not be able to tell you so quickly if I had not done a session with my kids. I'm a trainer also I used to be a trainer of critical thinking for an organization called Beyond the Classroom. So we did a session, we did an activity called Life Maps, in which you identify, events that have shaped into who you are today. So that's why I can recall these events so often. Failure is something very strange and weird to me because I think I have a problem in life to take things so lightly that it's never really, really affected me. But I think one thing that's really kept with me, and there has been a certain level of guilt associated with it, and it's followed me around, is I feel for a prolonged period, and that would be quite a few months, when you're an entrepreneur and when you don't have anybody on the top and you're supposed to self-check yourself, you can also be very comfortable.
Hmm.
You're your own boss. You can do your own, design. You forget that your team needs you. You forget that your goals in life and your goals as business need you to fire on all cylinders at times, right? It's good that you take breaks and you should take healthy breaks, but I think that comfort, uh, at least prolonged comfort, at a certain period of time was also hurtful for my team. And the problem is I share a certain chemistry with my team, which was counterintuitive in the sense that even they would not say this is where you're hurting us. But I felt it. But the problem with that is you cannot go back in time and fix that. So the only thing that you can do is look forward, try not to attempt that mistake again, understand where you are, who you are, how you're operating, whether you're operating at a good, healthy capacity or not.
So, Sennen, how can people approach problems in their life, or big problems in their life? What's like a practical approach? What do you think about that?
Um, you know, this should not constitute a recommendation or advice coming from a expert on mental health or whatever.
Obviously,
But
obviously.
for me, it's always helped to have a strong internal locus of control. Focus on what I got wrong, rather than focus on things that are beyond my control. So, which is why I feel, cursing the government too much is kind of futile after a while, or cursing the dean too much of your university is futile after a while. Find what the changes that you can make and adjust to them. I think that I found that's doable. Problems, I think, yeah. So there's a funny thing about problems, and I feel your ability to solve problems in your life, or generally even as a founder, increases when you expose yourself to things that are beyond your field. So if I'm from finance, I will not be able to come up with the best possible solutions if I stick to finance material all day. So one of the best things that could happen to me was masterclass, right? People who are listening, go check it out. It's a brilliant set of courses that are short like documentaries. They're on music production, they're on singing. People like Usher, Serena Williams, Tony Hawk, they teach you their arts. So I am following things that have nothing to do with my career, but you have no idea how important these things are in allowing you to think differently about problems. Because आपको आपकी skill set या आपकी field एक certain
एक बहुत
formula
limited,
देगी
yeah, very narrow.
yeah, so it'll give you a narrow formula. वो formula हर problem पे fit नहीं होगा, right? You're trying to fit a formula on every problem, वो नहीं होता. So sometimes you might need to look, a problem from the eye of an artist, sometimes as an engineer, sometimes even as a plumber, and sometimes as a surgeon. So these are very different ways, and that you need to furnish. So you be more well-rounded, be more fascinated with life, and I think a lot of your problems kind of get solved. Otherwise, if you have a particular problem, I can probably give you an insight. But I think problem solving in its own has these components that I feel that can be well addressed if.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Sennen. It has been a very insightful conversation. We've touched about many aspects pertaining to investment, pertaining to startups, pertaining to health, pertaining to mental health, and how to approach problems. My final question to you is: what's that one thing you want to leave the audience with today?
So you'll have to forgive me if it's not necessarily one thing, but I'll try to think
Sure,
of
sure,
I'll
no
try to keep
problem.
it to one thing. Yeah, at the very least, I would suggest that people tune out from the noise. And by noise, I mean I might sound like one. I hope I don't end up like one. I don't want to be one of those self-help gurus that say rise from the ashes, do this and do that, and get up 4:30 in the morning, and this is the only way possible. I think a particular solution, a particular model is not made for every human being. Humans should not try to fit themselves, into a particular solution set onto their problems. They should realize where they're getting burnt out. Not consume too much of a particular narrative. Surround yourself with people who who make you into a better human being, who challenge you, who make you into a better human being. Find things that interest you, that fascinate you. Don't do things that don't interest you. Please don't do things that don't interest you. Unless you're absolutely forced to for a particular time period and you cannot find it, don't do things just because you think, this is, oh my God, this is so high paying. I think you can
Scope है बहुत
only
ज़्यादा
do something. Yeah, उसका बहुत ज़्यादा scope है, I think that career is over. You have a lot more choices. If you think your life is any less than the life of your previous generations, please read the book Factfulness. Please read the book WTF, not the a normal use of the word, but WTF is where's the future and how.
Yeah, I was stuck. I was thinking, oh my god, what's he saying really?
So that'll give you going. So that, and read up on mental health, and just do your best to manage your energy and conserve your energy, and distribute your energies very efficiently, and just do your best to take care of yourself. Yeah, that's the best advice.
Thank you so much, Sennen. It has been a very
Pleasure.
insightful conversation. We've had a really fun time. And I hope to do another session with you in the future as well. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all the audiences for listening to us.
And thank you, Asad. I hope to join you on another day when there are less technical difficulties that face us, with another session.
Inshallah,
Thank you so
inshallah.
much for having me.
I hope for the best. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Allah Hafiz.
Pleasure. Allah Hafiz.